Hey, Shalom, peace to the family. Peace to the family. Peace to the family. Peace to the family. Hey, Shalom to my peoples. I see my peoples in the building. My moderators are in the building. Moderators, I'm going to need you, brothers and sisters, today. This topic, I'm relatively sure. Shout out to Crown Me 13. Shout out to my sister, Amawana. Shout out to Mika One, Star, Asarael, Lady Soul 502. Hey, shalom to everybody. So we got a powerful subject that we're about to talk about today, family. All right. And I'm going to tell you, from watching this discussion on other channels, it's messy and it's a hot topic. I want y'all to give me 1 second, family. 1 second. 1 second. Yeah. So this whole ADOS topic is real messy, and it's real divisive. So here's what I'm going to ask, and I'm going to continually ask this throughout the remainder of the show to my moderators. We're going to allow people to express their opinions. We're not against people giving their opinions. But if you perceive, and my moderators are very good, if you perceive anything that you deem to be disrespectful, where a person crosses the line of respect, then you can do what you got to do. You could time their comment out, you can delete the comment, or you could block them, okay? Because we're not here to disrespect one another. We're here to have a conversation. And today's conversation is about the whole ADOS movement. And I'm hoping, and I'm relatively sure, that the majority of you brothers and sisters, you've been seeing it. Like, you have to almost be living under a rock not to have seen what's been going on with these discussions with these ADOS movements. And so I've watched a bunch of YouTube videos with different people giving different perspectives on the ADOS movement. But brothers and sisters, the comments that people are leaving is crazy, man. I'm gonna tell you, this oppressor knows how to divide our people very well. He does a great job. He does a masterful job of knowing how to divide our people. I see people that would fall under the umbrella of being so-called pro-black. They are so pro-black, and they are so conscious, right? Until money is on the table. Now, let me say this about this whole ADOS thing. First of all, I don't believe it's real. I don't believe it's ever going to be enacted. That's just my opinion. I don't believe it's real. But just the mere thought that it's even possible, and the mere conversation being had across different platforms, on television and on social media, just the mere conversation has brought some real negative, evil, ugly things out in our community that's always been bubbling under the surface to begin with. You have people that are so Pan-Africanist, so pro-black, until some money's on the table. Then as soon as some money is, I'm not going to say money on the table, I really shouldn't say that. As soon as a conversation about money coming on the table, if this is ever enacted, comes, now all of a sudden you ain't so pro-black no more. Now you only a certain type of pro-black, you see? Before, you were West African, you Kemetic, you this, you that. But I'm going to tell you something, to be a part of the American Descendants of Slave movement, the ADOS movement, you got to claim that you're American. And you Negroes are willing to compromise whatever you are. That's why a lot of that conscious stuff is fake. Because you're willing to forego whatever it is you believe for some money that you're not going to get. That you're not going to get. All right. So I was, like I said, I've been watching videos on this subject for a while. And today I was just, going over the website, and I said, you know what? I haven't really seen, I could be wrong, I haven't seen many Israelites talk about the ADOS movement. And I really wanted to know, and if I did, and I missed it, I apologize. I definitely want to see those videos as well. But I really wanted to see what our community considers and thinks about this whole ADOS movement, considering that we as Israelites, we know that we're in the diaspora, we're in the four corners of the earth. So now, are we going to begin to marginalize different groups like the ADOS movement is doing? And we only going to care about ourselves? Is that what we're going to do? Is that what we are? I kind of want to see where people are on this subject matter. So again, to my moderators, we can definitely allow people to express their opinions. We can even agree. We can even disagree. All right. But I don't want, and I won't tolerate, and I don't want my moderators to tolerate anything that crosses the line into just straight up disrespect. We're not going to do that here. We love our people. If you're following these laws, statutes, and commandments in this Bible, we're supposed to love our people, all 12 tribes. All right. So I want you, brothers and sisters, to keep that in mind as we go through this topic. Okay. Now, I'm about to share my screen in a moment. Let me see if there's anybody else in the building. All right. People are starting to come in. I see my moderators here. So Sisters of the Maccabees says the ADOS movement is a very dangerous movement. I think so. I think so. That's my opinion. And I'm going to tell you why I think so. One of the reasons why I think the ADOS movement is dangerous is because anytime I see certain politicians and television pundits that are supporting a movement like that, it gives me a cause to pause. I believe I saw Ann Coulter. Y'all know who Ann Coulter is? Do y'all know some of the things that she said over the years, her views? When I see someone like that supporting ADOS and things of that nature, automatically that gives me a cause for pause. What do you get out of this? That's my first question. What does somebody like Ann Coulter and others get out of supporting movements like ADOS and other reparations movement? What do they get? What do they get? All right. I'll tell you, a lot of you so-called blacks that still are into politics, a lot of y'all are going to vote Republican. Mark my words. Donald Trump is going to get more votes from black people in the upcoming election than he got last time. Watch. All right. That's all that this is. He's going to get a lot more votes. For you so-called Negroes that are still into this whole political thing, you're going to get a lot more votes. Pay attention. Mark my words. Okay. I'm not prophesying, but I could see it clearly. You have a lot of black people that are starting to come out in support of Donald Trump. A lot of black Republicans, etc. Like, it's just a lot of stuff that's going on that's crazy. And I'm just wondering if people are really paying attention to what's going on. All right. So somebody in the comment board said that my view on this is a little simplistic. I'm not really here to give y'all my view today, honestly. I kind of want to hear what y'all have to say. I will tell y'all some things I think, but I'm not here to impose my views on you brothers and sisters. I'm not here to impose my views on you brothers and sisters. I just want to know what you think. So let's start with this. Before I share my screen, let's start with this conversation right here. Let's start with this. How do we classify an American descendant of a slave? How do we classify that? Here's what I'm asking you. We know during slavery that you had some of the slave masters that would rape a slave, right? And that woman would become pregnant and she would bear a child, right? And that child will grow up and that child will marry a white woman, right? And they'll have a child. So now the phenotype begins to change. The children get lighter and lighter and lighter throughout the generations. And if they keep marrying white people going all the way up, after a while, the phenotype is almost completely gone, to the point where if they don't tell you that they have a black descendant, you wouldn't know. Recently, I'll give you a recent example. I don't remember if it's on her mother's side or her father's side. That female that used to fight in the UFC, Ronda Rousey, right? Ronda Rousey, come to find out, she has black ancestors. But that was a recent thing that we found out, what, a year or two ago? For years, nobody knew that. You couldn't look at her and tell that she had black ancestors. You couldn't tell. And what I'm trying to say to y'all, what's going to wind up happening is you're going to have people that all of a sudden that's going to come out. If something like this was to pass, you're going to have a lot of Caucasians, a lot of white people that's going to come out and they're going to be finding black ancestors somewhere in the daggone family line. They're going to make it up. All of a sudden, somebody was black somewhere. And they're going to be at the front of the line, and you so-called blacks are going to be at the back of the line. I'm telling you, it happens every time. None of these movements that were set up for our benefit ever really benefit us. Affirmative action really doesn't benefit so-called black people anymore. So-called Jews get more out of that. So-called Jews get more out of the welfare system than we get in others. Even Black Lives Matter doesn't benefit so-called black people much anymore. None of these movements that are set up supposedly for us, what they do is they use us as the face of the movement to gain the movement some type of credibility and momentum. And then once it gets there, everybody else outside of us benefits from these things more than us. If there was to really be an ADOS legislation that would be passed by Congress or by by the government, whatever, if there was really ADOS legislation being passed, do you brothers and sisters understand you're going to have a lot of people benefiting from it more than you? Who's going to define what an American descendant of a slave is? If a white person tells you going back 4 or 5 generations they had a black ancestor, they're just as eligible as you, whether they look like you or not. Have people really considered that? Who's going to decide what is an ADOS? That's what I want to know. Right, like Tony White said, go back and look at the whole Native American movement. This the thing that they had about the $5 Indians. I'm not really going to get into that right now, but they had something about the $5 Indians, the Dawes rolls. They had something called the Dawes rolls. And you had a lot of so-called white people that ended up, I believe, on those Dawes rolls claiming Native American ancestry. That happened. Go and read your history. Those that don't know history are what? Bound to repeat it. This has happened before many, many times. And it's just so funny to me. It's just so odd to me that I'm seeing black people that claim to be pro-black and conscious and all this stuff, but I'm seeing the same people making either videos or on comment boards and disrespecting other black people because they don't have the same mindset when it comes to this subject. So as soon as the conversation of money is introduced into the struggle, all of a sudden now we're separating from each other. That's why I said the oppressor knows exactly what he's doing, man. He strings our people around like a yo-yo and you allow it. You allow it. And so I wanted to find out from Israelites what you guys think about the ADOS movement. What do you think about that? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. All right. And we're going to go to their website. We're going to do a little bit of reading, not a lot, a little bit of reading. And I'm going to be constantly coming back and forth. And I kind of want to know what you brothers and sisters are thinking. Now, I'm going to tell y'all something off subject, right? I'm looking at my computer. I don't know how this is coming across to y'all, but it looks like I'm having some technical difficulty a little bit. If in the midst of this live stream, it crashes or something happens, I'll come right back in 5 minutes, family. Okay, I'll just restart my computer and come right back because it looks like it's giving me some problems. I don't know what's been happening lately. Well, I do know I got an old behind computer. That's the problem. I got an old behind computer. Pray for your brother at the Most High. Supplies are ramming the thicket, man. Somehow or another, man, I can get my hands on a newer computer, man, so it's not always crashing on me every 5 minutes. And also, to be quite honest, while I'm doing this live stream, I'm also editing some videos for some class lessons because brother's been like, I haven't been loading up class lessons in a while. I do them, but I don't upload them. So I'm uploading some lessons to YouTube at the same time I'm live. That might, and this dinosaur that I have right here is not happy about it. So that's why it's looking a little, on my side, it's looking funny. But nevertheless, I'm gonna continue, and we'll just take it from there, right? Also, do me a favor, family. It's 90 people in the house. I only got 12 people to hit the like button. Hit the like button, family. Even if you don't like me, hit the like button, because what that does, it moves the video up in the search that when people log on to YouTube, they can see it, so we can bring more of our people into the conversation. So, family, hit that like button, please. And also, if you're not subscribed to Maccabeestv TV, make sure you subscribe. If you know anybody that's interested in this conversation while we're talking, put the link on your Facebook pages, and so people can come in and be a part of this conversation. We're going to have a respectful conversation this afternoon, family. Everyone is entitled to their opinion on this, but your opinion should be done with respect, because my moderators are going to kick you out if you're disrespectful. Not if you disagree, but if you're disrespectful, okay? Because that's been going on all the other chats when this subject comes up. All right, so let's go. Barakia Otto Ben Israel said, we like you. Well, thank you. Maybe you do, but trust me, a lot of people don't. There's a lot of people that don't like me. That's okay. All praises. If everybody liked me, then I couldn't be a man of the Lord, because the men of the Lord, no, everybody didn't like them. So I'm not looking for everybody to like me. All right. All righty. So Let's go ahead and share the screen and let's talk a little bit about this ADOS movement. Let's look at their website. Go right to the horse's mouth. Let's look at their website. Now, before I go, I'm going to say this too real quick. Some of the videos, people have been focusing in on the people that founded the ADOS movement, right? You know, you have that woman, right? I could say a lot, but I'm gonna tell you one thing. She's like the sentinel. She be popping up in everybody's chat. I don't know what it is. When she finds out somebody said something about the ADOS movement, she pops up. Her name is Yvette Carnell, right? And there's another brother as well. He has a channel here on YouTube called Tone Speaks. They're the ones I be telling y'all they be going in. And their comment boards, they be going in. So at some point, they're probably going to see this and they'll end up in the comments or whatever, which is fine. No problem. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about her or him. I have some things that I have some opinions on that, but my opinions will probably get this video taken down. So I'm not gonna make it personal. We're gonna talk about the ADOS movement. Y'all free to say what y'all want to say in the chat. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? All right. So let's go ahead and share the screen. And so let's look at this whole ADOS movement, right? Yeah, let's do this. Give me 1 second, y'all. All right, let's go. Okay, I asked to share the screen and it didn't do it. There we go, dinosaur. Come on, come on. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right, family. So you brothers and sisters, y'all could see that this is the website. So if you want to come here on your own and you want to do your own personal research, the website is ados101.com. That's the website, right? And I'm on the About tab, the About ADOS tab. That's where I currently am right now. And as you can see on the left-hand side of your screen, you can see that the word ADOS, if you didn't know, if you've been living under a rock, stands for American Descendants of Slaves. So what is ADOS about? Let's do a little reading and let's see what we find out here. It says, oh, went a little too far. Okay, let's take it back. Here we go. It says, ADOS was started by the brain trust of Howard graduate and the host of the Breaking Brown political show, Yvette Carnell, and UCLA alumnus and attorney Antonio Moore, who hosts the weekly radio show Tone Talks. ADOS, which stands for American Descendants of Slaves, seeks to reclaim, restore the critical national character of the African American identity and experience, one grounded in our group's unique lineage, which is central to our continuing struggle for social and economic justice in the United States. And you see they have a little chart there. Let's move down and read a little bit more. It says, in his book, American Slavery, American Freedom, the historian Edmund Morgan concludes that slavery was not a contradiction of American freedom, but rather that slavery was the institution that made white freedom possible. In other words, slavery was not a mistake so much as a precondition for social hierarchy, which requires descendants of slaves to remain a bottom caste and be made to suffer the necessary failures of a brutal economic system. This was followed by a Jim Crow era that saw ADOS become actual contagions that led to a destruction of wealth through federally supported discriminatory practices like redlining. Black presence literally made wealth disappear in communities, all while American whites and more recently immigrants enjoy advantages in a land of apparently equal opportunity that was in fact manufactured on the back of black failures. So the first thing that we notice here is they're separating immigrants, right? There's a separation. All right, so let's look at that, right? But we're going to come back to that. We're going to come back to that. Next paragraph. According to Yale historian David Blight, by 1860, there were more millionaires, slaveholders, all living in lower Mississippi Valley than anywhere else in the United States. In the same year, the nearly 4 million American slaves were worth some $3.5 billion, making them the largest single financial asset in the entire U.S. economy, worth more than all manufacturing and railroads combined. Codified by the government and exploited by private actors, the creation of an ADOS underclass served as the financial engine of a nation that never recognized the debt it owed to the group as a result. As such, the ADOS movement is underpinned by the demand for reparative justice and making the group whole, and as a necessary component in fulfilling the promise of opportunity from which, by design, ADOS has been historically excluded and denied. I want to say something briefly about that, and I'm going to come right back. I'm not going to share my screen for a second. I want it to come back to me. I'm going to bring it right back in a second, family. But I want to say something about that. The problem that I'm having with that statement right there, we're asking for what she said was reparative justice and making a group whole. Translation, we're going to the government with our handout, asking them to make us whole, right? I'm not saying that that's not something that, okay, well, let me try to find the right words to put it in. That's understandable. That's understandable. It's not scripture. We're going to go into scripture in a second. It's not scripture, but the sentiment is understandable. Here's the problem. Again, if you don't know history, you're bound to repeat it. The American system hasn't fully made reparative justice to the Native Americans either. They made a ton of treaties with the Native American Indians and broke every last one of them. Every last one of them. In more recent times, the government has been making these different, giving these different Native American Indians certain permissions and certain licenses to open casinos, like here in the Northeast. You have the Shinnecock, not the Shinnecock. You have in Connecticut, Mohegan Sun, right? You have that in Connecticut here, right? The whole thing with the casino. You have casinos on Indian land upstate. When you go and you look at the people that's controlling them lands, those are so-called white people. Again, so-called white people that might have had a remote Native American ancestor going back 200-300 years. And they were able to prove it somehow that they had this remote Native American ancestor. And these are the ones that you see on the Native American reservations, owning and running the casinos, sitting on the councils, running the casinos, running around looking like Ronald Reagan and George Bush. Talking about the Native American. Y'all see that chick that's running for president? What's her name? Elizabeth Warren? I don't know if y'all all know who that is. Elizabeth Warren is running for president. And for the longest time, she was running around saying that she was Native American, and your man Ronald McDonald, aka Donald Trump, okay, he called her out on that. You see? So that's a look into, if he's used the word so-called, that's a so-called look into the proverbial crystal ball. The same way you got these people almost passing for white, that's called themselves Native American, that's really reaping all the benefits, is the same thing that's going to happen if there was an ADOS movement. I'm telling y'all, they're going to move you right to the back of the line, family. Don't sleep. They're going to move you right to the back of the line. Now, let's come back. Let's come back and let's share the screen some more. Let's read some more. Oh, hold up a second. Hold on a second. Yep. Let's share the screen. Let's read some more. Okay. So, where were we? Yeah, here we go. So we're right here. The truth of ADOS life is seen nowhere more clearly than the racial wealth gap in the United States of America, right? So they have this chart here, and they give you this whole thing about the racial wealth gap between so-called blacks and so-called whites, right? And this was financed by Forbes and also Statista, right? Statista, I'm saying that right? Probably not. Anyway, Statista, there it is, Statista. So family, this website is ADOS101.com. Y'all can come and you can look at these charts as well. I kind of just want to do the reading. So we're going to go down to the next paragraph. It says, closing the racial wealth gap requires a new deal for Black Americans. President Trump's assertion during the 2016 presidential campaign that Black Americans have nothing to lose was met by defiance by those on the left. See, here we go. We talk about left wing, right wing. We're talking about politics. We're talking about going to the government with our hand out, looking for something that has never worked for us in our favor. And it wouldn't work with this either. The fact that we are actually trying to go to the government and ask them means that we haven't learned anything. That's my opinion. We haven't learned anything. And we're going to get burned by this in the long run. And then we're going to be crying again. Why are all these people benefiting off of ADOS and not us? Because we didn't listen in the beginning and we didn't know our history. We never benefit off these programs that are supposed to be for us. Okay, let's continue. So it says was met with defiance by those on the left, but the data supported the statement. From over all the wealth levels to home ownership to student debt levels and beyond, African Americans across the nation are suffering, according to a study from Brookings. A half of Black Americans who are born poor stay poor. Most Black kids who are born into middle-class families are downwardly mobile. And as Duke University economist Dr. William Sandy Darity and co-founder of the ADOS movement, Antonio Moore, along with other researchers, observed in their study, and there's the study written in the red hyperlink, what we get wrong about closing the racial wealth gap. The concentration of ADOS as the bottom, at the bottom, economically is a consequence of lack of wealth transfers and multi-generational oppression, not individual agency or cultural patterns. You guys can look at this chart on your own, right? And they give you all these different charts to look at, all right? Lastly, ADOS, American ADOS, sets out to shift the dialogue around the identity of what is to be African American in an effort to move the discussion from melanin and properly center the discussion around lineage. And that's your problem. This is your problem right here. They're going to move the argument from melanin and they're going to put it to lineage. And I know that when they came up with this idea, because they have these grandiose college educations, right? And I'm not knocking college education, just stay with me for a second. Because they have these grandiose college educations, they thought that that was a profound statement, but it's not. Because this right here is where you're going to get jammed up. Because I'm telling you, you're going to have people coming out the woodwork saying they had a Black ancestor, and you're not going to be able to stop it, especially if they can prove it. Especially if they can prove it. And they're going to be benefiting from this ADOS movement more than you, just like happened to the Native Americans. I'm telling you. So this is a problem. Okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out for a second. I want to go to another tab on the website called the Black Agenda. But I'm going to come out for a second. I'm going to come to the comment boards. I want to see what the family is talking about. Because I know, like I said, this topic has been a hot button issue for a while. So let's see what we have here. So Street Heat said everybody goes to the government with their handout. This is true. And how does it usually, my question is, how does that usually work out though? How does that usually work out when we go to the government with our handout? We go to the government with our handout. We were looking for civil rights. Who benefits more from civil rights today? Is it us or other people? My contention is, my opinion is, other people benefit more from so-called civil rights than we do. My contention is, other people benefit more from affirmative action than we do. That's what I see. Maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, y'all can tell me I'm wrong. Y'all can tell me I'm wrong, but that's what I see. So going to the government, asking for the government to do something for us, doesn't, first of all, how many of y'all believe that this is actually going to take place? If you really believe that this is really, okay, well, if you believe it's a real possibility for Blacks to get these things that they're asking for through the ADOS movement, I want y'all to put 1 in the comment boards and you let me know. Does anybody think that this is even possible? Is this is even possibly going to happen? If you believe this is possibly going to happen, put 1. If you believe that this is all a dream, like Biggie Smalls said, that it's not going to happen, put 2. Put 2. Everybody that believes that this could happen, put 1. And if you believe that this is a pie in the sky, put 2. Okay. So I'm seeing majority 1s. Cool. All right. Okay, cool. Okay, now I'm seeing a lot of 2s. All right. So now just for my 1s, right? And I'm gonna pick out, I can't really answer everybody, but I want to see some good ones here for my 1s, just my 1s. I want to see some good ones. What will be the criteria to define what is an ADOS? How do we keep people like Elizabeth Warren, who are not Native Americans, who've been claiming it for years, trying to get the benefits? We've seen that happen to Native Americans. How will we keep that from happening to us? If a white person 4 generations ago had a Black ancestor that was a slave, just one remote ancestor 4 generations ago, are they also ADOS? I say technically they are. How do we stop that? Can somebody that was a 1, somebody tell me that? How do we stop that? I'd like to see. Yeah, son, you're right. It's not biblical. We're about to go in the Bible in a second. But can anybody tell me how we can how we're going to be able to keep people like that out? Lioness Heart said, "Come out and raise hell." What does raise hell mean? Protest? If they start giving it to other people and not and not us, raise hell means what? Protest? I don't. Young Judah says you have to identify as black on all your documents at least 15 years back. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. All right. Yaj General says birth records. Not a lot of black people don't have birth records going way back. A lot of them can't prove it. Some can, but some can't. What about the ones that can't? So for Yaj General, you said birth records. What about the black folks that can't prove it? But they really are ADOS. They really are. So because they can't prove it, they asked out. They just asked out because they can't prove it. Let's say you could prove it, Yaj General, and let's say I don't have the records to prove it, but we both ADOS. So does that mean that you should benefit and I should not? Is that how we're gonna do it? And again, we're just having a conversation. I'm not singling you out, but I see a comment. It was a good comment. So I want to know how do you do that? So Lioness Heart said the DNA, the blood. Now we know. Well, I will leave that alone. Okay, 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 okay. Wow. Okay, so Abadia Israel just came in. They want to know what ADOS is. The ADOS movement. I'm gonna share my screen again because other people are coming in. The ADOS movement is the American Descendant of Slaves movement that was started by Yvette Carnell. And basically what it is that, excuse me, what it is, one second, trying to get back to the screen. This is the website right here. ADOS101.com, that's the website. And ADOS stands for the American Descendants of Slaves. So you have a movement that's being enacted by a lot of black academics and then a lot of bougie black folks. I'm gonna tell you, there's a lot of bougie black folks on this. Sorry if I offend anybody, but that's just what it is. And they're pushing this movement for reparations, but they don't want they don't want the reparations to be just for any black people. They want it to be for American descendants of slaves, not immigrants. So if you're not an ADOS or American descendant of slaves, you should not benefit from these reparations that they're asking for. And you have a lot of political pundits and talking heads, that are backing this. People, like I said, like Ann Coulter. If y'all don't know who she is, look her up. Just the fact that she supports this alone is cause for pause for me. I'm sorry. All right, so that's pretty much what it is. So what we're doing is we're on their website and we're trying to get an understanding together of what is the ADOS movement about. And we're also having a discussion of what defines an ADOS. Like, how does somebody prove they're an American descendant of slaves? So I just asked the chat that if a white person has a black ancestor going back 300 years, just one black ancestor, one black woman in his line 300 years ago got raped by a white man, and everybody else in the lineage is white. But that person does have a black ancestor going way, way back. What makes them not qualified and you qualified? See, how do we differentiate who should be qualified, who should not? So I'm getting different answers. People are saying DNA. People are saying family records. One brother said you have to be claiming black for at least 15 years. And I kind of knew that I would get these type of answers, right? I would get these type of answers. Now, so we're back on the website here. Let's continue to look at the website a little bit more and see what else we come across. So I'm on the tab now that says Black Agenda, right? So let's talk about the Black Agenda that they have. This is their agenda. This is what they want. We're going to kind of skim through this as well. It says Black agenda as a specific group with a specific justice claim. The ADOS movement demands a specific agenda with policy prescriptions that address the losses stemming from the institution of slavery, Jim Crow, redlining, convict leasing, mass incarceration, and immigration. So if I stop right there, I'm telling y'all I'm good with all of that. All those things, if you're going to address all those things are horrific and they were evil. So I have no problem with you guys bringing that up. No problem. But let's continue reading. We demand a new deal for Black America, which includes, but is not limited to, and let's stop with this Black America thing. Like I said before, you have a lot of so-called conscious people, the conscious community that supports the ADOS movement, which means you have to identify yourself as a Black American. So much for being West African, so much for being Kemetic, so much for being this, and so much for being that, so much for being all those things. Now you're going to say you're American to get some money. That goes to show you, man. And, they play our people like a fiddle every time. All the white man got to do is start playing the fiddle and tapping his foot, and Negroes will start dancing. It's crazy. I'm sorry. I know some of y'all don't like me talking like that, but it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Let's continue. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. Let's continue. First bullet point. We need set-asides for American descendant of slaves, not minorities. So they're making a differentiation, okay? A throwaway category which includes all groups except white men. That categorization has allowed Democrats to use programs like affirmative action as giveaways to all groups in exchange for votes, which I said before. Other groups benefit from affirmative action more than us, okay? Let's continue. The bribery must end. That begins with a new designation on the census with ADOS and another for Black immigrants. So when the census takes place, and what the census does is it takes numbers of people and then they allocate funds and resources based on the census. So what they're asking for is a separate category on the census for American descendants of slaves, and then another category for all the other Black people. Understand? Black immigrants should be barred from assessing affirmative actions and other set-asides intended for ADOS, as should Asians, Latinos, white women, and other minority groups. In addition, ADOS hiring and employment data must be demanded for all businesses receiving tax credits, incentives, and governmental support, as well as all other government agencies, national, state, and local. It is our belief that this will show that there are minimal, if any, ADOS professionals in fields including, but not limited to, engineering, medical, legal, and technical. Okay, I have a question. I have a question from my chat. I got a question, right? This part right here, right? Right here. Black immigrants should be barred from assessing affirmative action. I have a question for my chat. I'm gonna bring it back to me. I wanna know what y'all think. Bring it back to me. I got a question. Okay. Now, I'm gonna give you a scenario. I'm gonna give you a scenario. And I want you, brothers and sisters, I want you to tell me what you think. This is only for my ones. Everybody that says ADOS is good and it can work, this is only for the ones, family, only for the ones. You have a 1-year-old child. Here's my scenario. You have a 1-year-old child that was born in Haiti, right? A child that was born in Haiti, and they migrate to the US when the child is 1 year old. So that child doesn't even remember Haiti at all. And they are raised in the United States for their whole entire life. All right? Okay. Now, this child that's been raised in America its whole life, except for the first year, when they become an adult, they see a job posting and they go for the job, right? And let's say that it's just 2 people. I'll make the scenario very simple. 2 people apply for the job, 2 people. That child, that Black child, applies for the job, and you have a white child that applies for the job. And the person that's hiring decides they don't want any Black people working at their job, at that company. So they hire the white person simply because they're white, right? Do we agree with ADOS that that child that was discriminated upon simply because they're black? Right now, the only legislation that would protect a child like that is affirmative action. They could bring a lawsuit for affirmative action. Do we agree that that child should not be afforded the protection of affirmative action simply because they were born in Haiti, but they lived their whole life here, and they were discriminated against because of the color of their skin? Remember, a child that grows their whole life here, if they don't tell you they're Haitian, you might not know, because they can talk English perfectly. They might not have a last name that sounds Haitian at all. So that white man that said you can't have a job might not have even known that they were Haitian. He might have said no just because they was black. So my question is, should that black person that was discriminated against, are you that agree with ADOS, are you telling me that that child should not have the protection of affirmative action? If you believe that child should not be protected by affirmative action, like ADOS says, put one in the comments. I want to see you. We're not going to block you. We're not going to curse you out. I just want to see where people are at. I just want to see where you at. Who believes that that child should not be able to bring an affirmative action lawsuit against that company? If you believe that, put one in the comment board. I want to see. I just want to see, because then I want you to tell me why. Okay, Robert Armstrong, you said one. Tell me why. So what? I want you to tell me why you think that child should not be protected, right? You too, the angel online. I want you to tell me why that child should not be protected. And I want you to tell me, what remedy would you suggest then? They're just, for lack of a better word, they're just asked out then. That's it. They're just asked out. The white boy didn't know that they weren't an ADOS. He didn't know that. He just saw black. Just like if a police officer pulls two black people over and they don't talk, one is Haitian and one is African American. If you don't talk, the white boy don't know the difference. He doesn't know the difference. So he's gonna knock both of you upside your head. But you telling me only you should be protected, and that other kid that got knocked upside the head should not. That's what we're doing as black people now. I know some of y'all that's in here, you're not Israel, so I know that y'all don't have, but as Israelites, we have certain laws that we got to follow. We have certain laws and commandments we have to follow, so it's different for us. But I want to know, I want somebody to tell me, what is the remedy for that child then? What's the remedy? So the angel online said the Haitian child has a nation and a flag. So basically, translation, he's just asked out. Now remember my scenario. I didn't say an ADOS was going for that job. There was two people applying for the job, one black and one white. The black child has been here their whole life, except for the first year, and got discriminated against simply because they were black. And you're going to sit there and honestly tell me the child is just asked out? That's it? That's it? Now I want to know. This is interesting to see how people think. Robert Armstrong, you said the child could take other legal remedies like what? Give me an example. Well, Street Heat, you said that I'm giving a straw man. I'm not. I'm not giving a straw man. This is what they're asking for. This is what they're asking for. Let me share my screen again. I'm giving you a scenario. I'm showing you how that was not well thought out at all. That was not well thought out. It's really not a straw man. It's really not, because it says black immigrants should be barred from assessing affirmative action. That is a definitive statement. There's no blurred lines here. It's a definitive statement. It's an all-encompassing statement. So you're going to have situations like the scenario I gave, where does this child fit in with this statement? Where does that child fit in when we make statements like this? I'm just curious. So I'm just reading the comments. Like, I'm not mad at nobody. I'm just reading the comments because I kind of want to see, what people think. Even though, like I said, I already seen it on the other comment boards. But I just want to see. I don't think this was as well thought out as they might have thought, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. So the angel online, she said, "What about my children? Worry about my children?" No. See, that's a problem. That's a problem too. That's a problem too. When we have that type of mentality where we only care about ourselves, we're never going to get nowhere. No community that only cares about themselves get anywhere. Nobody. AOK says, but why are we having a conversation if we are following God's laws? Because I just wanted to know where the Israelite community stands on this. I wanted to know if Israelites are thinking the same way the conscious community is thinking. That's why we're having this conversation. I got my family in here. Well, all of you are my family, but I got my family in here and I want to know what they think. Because at the end of the day, a lot of our people that are Israelites are also what you would describe as ADOS. So I want to know what they think. That's all. That's all it is. That's why I'm asking. It's as simple as that, right? Now, so my brother Street, he said, I'm muddying the waters. Yeah, I am. You're right, I am. I'm not gonna lie to you, King. I am muddying the waters. I'm muddying it because somebody has to do it. Somebody has to do it. Because if we don't think these things through, and if we don't ask these questions now, what's going to happen each and every time, and I'm going to keep saying it at the expense of sounding like a broken record, I'm going to keep saying it. If we don't have these discussions now, you're going to have people that's going to benefit off this movement more than we are, because we didn't think it through. We didn't ask the proper questions. We didn't ask who or what is an ADOS and who is not. We just, because it's some money involved, we just decide we want to jump out the window for the money, and then we'll deal with everything else later. But by the time we get around to starting to, once the money is on the table and the legislation is passed, if we wait till then, which is not going to happen, I'm telling you now, it's not going to happen. I don't believe it's going to happen. But once the legislation is passed and it comes true as you guys would want, we can't deal with these questions on the back end. That doesn't make no sense. It doesn't make no sense. Black mind, you said Caribbeans and Africans don't like Black Native Americans. That's kind of it's an unfair statement and it's not true. It's a blanket statement, right? The conscious community, you guys revere Marcus Garvey. Where do you think Marcus Garvey was from? Where do y'all think he was from? And he came here and saw what was going on with Black people, and he unified Black people. Come on, man. That's not really, history doesn't show us that. History does not show us that. Come on. Just like with everything with so-called Black people, man, everything that we deal with, man, we're emotional first, man. We're not rational at all. We think with our emotions. And that's not good. That's not good. We got to get out of our emotions and deal with reality. Robert Armstrong, I know who the laws, the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment was made for. I understand that. I understand that, right? But I also understand that now we're living in a way different time than back then. So there's a lot more complicated questions that have to be asked, okay? You do realize the people in Liberia are ADOS, technically speaking, right? Many of the people in Africa, in Liberia, are ADOS. You do realize that many of the people in Ghana are ADOS. Did y'all think about that? What about them? What about them? For all my people that support the ADOS movement, what are we going to do with the people in Ghana that are ADOS? Do they qualify? What are we going to do with the people in Liberia who are ADOS technically? Do they qualify? What do y'all say? Uh, Penuel Turner, brother, I'm just wearing a hat. I never said I was from the tribe of Gad. I don't know if you're new to the channel. I don't know. I never said that I was the tribe of Gad. I like the hat. Is that okay? So Andre 2S Killed says the people of Ghana and the people of Liberia wouldn't qualify because they're not American citizens, but they are descendants of American slaves that just simply repatriated. See, so maybe they need to kind of tweak the name then. It doesn't say American citizens of descendants of slaves or something like that. It just says ADOS. ADOS is a broad term. So that's why, as my brother said, I'm muddying the waters. Yeah. Yep. People in Liberia are descendants of slaves. They're descendants of Americans that were slaves. And all they did was they repatriated back. That's all. Man, T. Ross Inc. says he wants me to get a call-in line. I got one. I got one. I'm going to tell y'all what I'm going to do, right? I'm not going to stay too long on this topic today. We're going to get a panel going, and we're going to have call-ins and all that. We're going to get a panel going. I'm going to come back. And hey, you know what? Right? Yeah. You know what? One of y'all timed out Moors are Israelites, but that was a good statement he just made. That was a good statement. What about the black men that went over during the Vietnam War and impregnated those women over in Vietnam? Technically speaking, those children are descendants of American slaves. They are. I know y'all see. We're taking what's there, the name that's there, ADOS. What I'm trying to show y'all is, I'm telling y'all, you saying I'm muddying the waters. The waters are gonna be muddy, and it ain't gonna be me that's doing it. I'm telling you, they are technically, doesn't matter that they live over in Vietnam, whatever. They are descendants of American slaves. That's what they are. That's what they are. Crusher Corp says they're mamsers. That's not the conversation we're having right now, bro. That's not what we're having. We're not having a mamzer conversation. They are descendants of American slaves, technically speaking. If we deal with technically, see, now we're starting to introduce other stuff. Well, birth certificates, DNA, what you've been putting on applications is your race for the last couple of your 15 years. Now we're starting to change things. You see, because it wasn't well thought out. It wasn't well thought out. We're not talking about the chart. As always, people just can't stick with the subject. You just can't stick with the subject no matter what we're talking about. I'm not talking about no charts. I'm not talking about no charts. We're having a conversation about what is an American descendant of slaves. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. Who would qualify as an ADOS? That's what we're talking about. Not no chart. I hear you. See, Pip King says, my arguments are nonsensical. I bet you the Native Americans thought that too. I bet you the Native Americans thought that too. And look what happened to them. When affirmative action was given to our people, we thought it was the pie in the sky, right? Because we didn't give nonsensical scenarios like what you say I'm giving. Nobody gave those. And look what happened with affirmative action. Look what happened with it. So I'm gonna tell you, man, I'm gonna give you a nonsensical scenario every time, because we have to talk about it. Right. Now, we're gonna come back. We're gonna come back to this ADOS Black agenda in a minute. But first thing is first, right? We are an Israelite channel, so I'm going to get one scripture, then we're going to go back to the website. But I'm going to get a scripture for a second. If you don't like scriptures, cover your ears for a minute. Some of y'all are not Israelites. You hate the Bible, but you're here, which is cool. You're always welcome to come. We're going to go over a scripture just for a second, right? We're in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 3. Jeremiah, chapter 3. I just want a couple of verses. I'm going to go down all the way down to verse number 20, right? Verse number 20, Jeremiah 3 and 20. This is what it says. It says, surely as a wife treacherously dealeth from her husband, so have ye dealt treacherously with me, O house of Israel, saith the Lord. A voice was heard upon the high places, weeping and supplications of the children of Israel. For they have perverted their ways, and they have forgotten the Lord their God. Our people, Israel, forgot the Most High. Verse 23, this is what I wanted. Truly in vain is salvation hoped for from the hills and from the multitude of mountains. Truly in the Lord our God is the salvation of Israel. Truly in the Lord our God is the salvation of Israel, meaning we're going to get salvation and deliverance through the Most High, not through no legislation that any nation is going to give for us. Because when they give us legislation, I'm telling you, they give it to us with the intent of it benefiting them later. And the Bible warns us about these things. The Bible warns us about that, whether you want to hear that or not. It's the truth. The Bible warns us about that stuff. The Most High is our salvation. The Most High will give us our salvation. The Most High will destroy our enemies in due times. And we ain't got to ask the so-called white man for no dang handouts. We don't have to ask them for that. Period. And I don't believe that this thing is going to go through any damn way. Anyway, I'm just saying, you know. All right, let's go back to the website for a second. We're going to read a little bit more. And I'm going to end it. I don't really want this to be too long. I'll come back with a group discussion. This video was kind of like a tester for me. I wasn't sure how interested Israel was going to be in the subject because I hadn't been seeing many Israelites talking about it. So I wasn't sure. I said, let me just try. What the heck did I just do? Oh, just played myself. Okay. Let me share again. Okay, there we go. Let's come back to the website. So we're at the second bullet point. Second bullet point says, once affirmative action is streamlined as a government program, only and specifically for ADOS, the program should be fully reinstituted. So, although my scenario was, as you know, y'all called it a bunch of different names, the scenario I gave, I think this is pretty clear. This is pretty clear that if a child is raised in the United States, if they come here as a baby, forget about 1 year old, if they come here at 1 month old from somewhere else, Haiti, Jamaica, Barbados, Trinidad, wherever we are in the diaspora, right? If they come here at 1 month old and for some reason or another, they're discriminated against through, you know, they cannot use affirmative action. Even though they've been here their whole life, they shouldn't benefit from it. They're just asked out. That's what some of y'all are saying. And y'all are okay with that. You're okay with that. And if there's black people that have been there their whole lives, but somehow or another they don't have their family records or they can't find their family records going back, but so far in their generations, they're asked out too, and that's okay. That's what I'm picking up from some of the comments. Could be wrong, but that's what I'm picking up. You know, interesting. Let's continue. The Supreme Court, next bullet point, the Supreme Court decided wrongly that when it gutted the Voting Rights Act as the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, it's time to solve the mystery of the 100,000 mystery votes indicates the protections outlined in the Voting Rights Act are essentially to protect the rights of ADOS in America. Reinstituting the protection of the Voting Rights Act is a key part of our agenda, so they want black people to vote. Nice, nice, nice. That's worked out pretty well for us, right? Voting is, I mean, on a local level, I'm not against voting. And we could do a show on that too, because I know some of you Israelites, man, I made job. On a local level, sometimes voting is okay. I can give y'all some examples, but I'll save that for another show when we do a panel discussion. We could do a show on that. But when it comes to state and national elections, that never helped us. Does not help us. Anyway, next bullet point. Black businesses only receive 1.7 of the 23.09 billion in total SBA loans under President Obama's SBA Small Business Administration after having previously received 8.2 under George W. Bush. How interesting. So we had a black president in office that we voted in, and under him, we only got 1.7%. And under the white president, George Bush, we got 8.2%. And what are they doing right here? If you didn't pick up the game, they're trying to steer some of the black votes to the Republican Party. I hope y'all see that. I hope y'all see that, right? Let's continue. Succeeding as an entrepreneur requires capital, so our agenda demands that 15% of SBA loans be distributed to ADOS businesses. We seek a multi-billion-dollar infrastructure plan targeted to ADOS communities, including but not limited to the Black Belts, Flint, Michigan. A Reuters examination published in 2016 found 3,000 cities with poisoning rates higher than Flint. So They said ADOS communities. I need to know what is that? Because I'm going to tell you something. You go to places like New York and New Jersey, those communities, there is no real ADOS communities in places like New York and New Jersey. When you go into the city, there's as many West Indians, Haitians, Dominicans in the same communities as ADOS. So they will benefit by default. They're going to benefit from these programs that they're instituted. You go to places like Florida, you go to places like Texas, you go to certain places like California. There are no real ADOS communities. So basically, it's two things. Either you're still going to push for the programs in those communities, or because they're not truly ADOS communities, they shouldn't get nothing, which means the real ADOS in those communities will suffer. They'll suffer because it's not a true ADOS communities, because you have other immigrants living there in high numbers as well. So I guess those communities, those ADOS that live in those communities where there's lots of immigrants, I guess they should get nothing, or they're going to get nothing. I know. I'm just making up crazy scenarios, right? You're damn right. I'm thinking. I'm using my brain. Some of the stuff to me is just not making no sense. It's divisive to our people. And a lot of ADOS are going to be left out of this, and y'all just can't see it. I can see it. Y'all can't, some of y'all can't see it right now, but you will. You will. If this ever passes, which I don't believe it will. Anyway. Next bullet point. Residents of majority ADOS areas have been poisoned under the federal, local, and state government's watch, such as not only Flint, Michigan, but Denmark, South Carolina, and others, must be financially compensated for the benign neglect of the Environmental Protection Agency and the government in general. The Justice Department must also institute protections which exact heavy fines and federal criminal prosecution for future offenders. Let's move on. Mass incarceration has wreaked havoc on Black American families. By some accounts, there are literally more Black males in prison than all women are incarcerated on the planet. To give context, there are 20 million Black males, and they are largely descended from slaves, while there are 4 billion women globally. Both groups produce the same number of incarcerated. The reinvention of slavery through the 13th Amendment is chronicled by Douglas Blackman in his PBS documentary, Slavery by Another Name. It is our position that this must be corrected. We demand an immediate assessment of the numbers of ADOS prison populations at the state and federal level. We also demand there be a review of punishment, bail amounts, sentence length, amount of time served before parole is being levied unfairly on high levels on ADOS based on gender and or race for similar crimes to other groups. We demand that there be real prison reform in the form of investment in counseling, job training, rehabilitation for our incarcerated. Now, a lot of that stuff sounds real good. Only problem I have with that happens to anybody Black, period. The sentencing guidelines. So if you're telling me these things should only be remedied when it comes to one group, that's divisive, man. Anyway, anyway. Next bullet point. Former President Ronald Reagan. Now notice all the Republican propaganda in here. Y'all not beginning to see that? I hope y'all beginning to see that. I'm saying maybe we know who the puppet masters are that are pulling on the strings. Remember I talked to y'all about Ann Coulter? Okay. Former President Ronald Reagan committed to strengthen the capacity of historically Black colleges and universities to provide quality education in Executive Order 12320. President Obama, a Democrat, undermined that commitment with changes to PLUS loan requirements. I see what they're doing. It's all about politics, y'all. It's all about politics, moving Black people from the head of one snake to the head of the other snake, from the Democratic Party to the Republican Party. This stuff to me is propaganda for the next election. That's what it seems like to me. But what do I know? I don't know nothing. We call for legislation to triple the current federal allotment to HBCUs. Schools like Georgetown, built by slaves, have an endowment of over $1 billion. This is a transfer of wealth from ADOS to whites. Our agenda demands that the federal government fully endow our remaining HBCUs in dollar amounts that meet the budgetary needs of each institution. In addition, ADOS students who attend HBCUs should receive a discount in the form of 75% tax credit Given that our inability to pay the rising cost of education is directly tied to the racial wealth gap from slavery, ADOS who choose schools outside the HBCU network should receive a 50% government-funded credit. Handouts, 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 handouts. Okay, interesting. Let me take a break for a minute. I'm pretty sure some of y'all are cursing me out in the comments. So let me go get a good laugh. Brother Street Heat, you said you want to know when I'm setting up the panel. Okay, so I'm not sure yet. I want to see what the interest level in it is. So email me Maccabeestv, just like the name of the channel, Maccabeestv, gmail.com, and I'll try to get you in on the panel. No problem. No problem. All right. I'm just reading the comments. Just give me a second, y'all. All right. I don't all right. Hey mods, just like I said earlier, moderators, if people disagree, you can let their comments stay. Just if they're disrespectful, then you time them out or you block them. But they're allowed to disagree. Somebody asked the question. They said, why did Moses go to Pharaoh then? Moses didn't go to Pharaoh and ask for a handout. You thought you had me, right? You almost had me. Moses didn't go to Pharaoh and ask for a handout. Go back and read the story again. Moses went to Pharaoh and told him to let the Most High's people go, or there was going to be a problem. Didn't ask Pharaoh for money and handouts and this and that for the labor that we did in Egypt. He didn't ask for that. Let my people go, or I'm gonna destroy you. That's what it was. And that's what we say when we teach, when we speak against America. We're telling America that the Most High is going to destroy them for what they did to God's people. I don't want a handout in America. I want America to be destroyed because the covenant said that I want the world. The world belongs to us and everything in it. Everything in this world belongs to us. Everything from the animals to the water to the rubies to the diamond to the gold to everything belongs to us. We want the world, not just no damn piece of the pie here in America. Hell no. America must be destroyed. This place is wicked as hell, man. This is the new Sodom. I'm not looking for this place to go on another 100 years. For my children to have to go to school and be taught about some LBGT, ABCDFG nonsense in school. Not looking for that. See? Understand that. Anyway, I don't know if y'all want me to continue on the website. I think I'm just about to end this live stream because I'm going to do another one. I'm going to allow you brothers and sisters to call in. I haven't done that yet. I think I did it one time on this channel. But I think I'm gonna start allowing you brothers and sisters to call in. You know what I'm saying? So y'all can curse me out like y'all do everybody else that lets y'all call in. So I'm gonna let you brothers and sisters call in. Right. Awakening Sister said only the Most High can provide reparations. That's correct. So Tony Jones Clark said they received about 500 years of free labor, right? And in our kingdom, we gonna get 1,000. That's why the scripture said we gonna render to them double. We did 500. They gonna serve us for 1,000 years. All praises to the Most High for that. All praise to the Most High for that. That's what we're looking for. I'm not looking for a handout from Donald Trump or Congress or anybody else, because it's just as never, to me, in my experience, it's never worked out for our people when we go to the government looking for a handout. So I'm not looking for that. You see what I'm saying? Now, if the government does hypothetically pass some ADOS, some type of program or something similar, and some of our people benefit from it, I don't have a problem with our people benefiting from anything because we've been oppressed in this country. I have no problem. My issue is not with people benefiting from it, but some of the things that people are saying, that if you are not an ADOS, but you've been here since you was 1 month old, that you shouldn't be able to sue under certain civil rights acts if you are discriminated against openly, that you shouldn't be able to take advantage of something like that. Yeah, come on, man, then you're going too far. To me, you're going too far. Any of our people that come from the diaspora that come here, they need some sort of protection. They do. They do. And I don't believe Robert Armstrong, you're a funny dude, man. I hate to tell you, man, you know, you're gonna have to prove that you're ADOS, brother Robert Armstrong. You're gonna have to prove it. You're gonna have to prove it. And I'm gonna tell you, they ain't gonna make it easy for you to prove it either. The government is not in business of handing out money to our people. And then our people, which is a whole nother conversation, our people are not financially or economically literate for the most part. You give Negroes daggone reparations, they're going to go into the same Gucci store that dissed them and buy that thing. Spend $500 on a belt from Gucci, because that's how destroyed our people are in the mind. We're not even ready for reparations, really. We need economic education first before we do that, to invest our money. We need to learn to invest and buy from each other and things of that nature before we even get some type of reparations that we're going to listen, man. How long, you know, I always say about how long the black dollar circulates in the black community. If black folks was given reparations, how long before we give it right back to the people that gave us the reparations? How long before we spend our money right back with them? How long? When a Negro gets, when some of our people get their tax refund money, that thing don't even last a month. People getting $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 from the government in tax returns. 2 months later, you broke. You don't even know what you're asking yourself. What did I do with all that money? What did I spend it on? You know what I'm saying? You don't even know what you spent it on, but you just spent it. Black people are not ready for this. They're not. They're not. We're not financially literate at this time. Right. Right. And I'm gonna tell you something, man. I don't want to call no names, right? I don't want to call no names, but just look at some of the people. Some of y'all have already seen it, right? Just go look at some of the people that call themselves black and conscious that are pushing the ADOS movement. Just look and see who it is. See who it is. That call themselves conscious, right? You was Pan-African 5 minutes ago. 5 minutes ago, you were Pan-African, you were for your people. But the minute that this subject is proposed, now all of a sudden, now you redlining and separating and divided what an ADOS could be. You see what I'm saying? And some of you very people that support ADOS, somehow or another, they're going to find a way to have you on the outside looking in. That's just the way it works. That's just the way it works. I'm telling you. You're going to see. And then you know what you're going to be doing? You're going to be marching and crying. Yah's general says that starts with us sticking together. What year? Give me the year and date that black people stuck together. When was that? When was that? And what makes you think that ADOS is going to make that happen? When was that? That never happened. And like Corey, one of a kind, said, it's uniting, but it's not uniting under the Most High, so it's not going to work. It's not going to work. I'm sorry to tell some of y'all. Anyway, let's see. I got you, Tony Jones. I got you. I got you. I got you. I hear you. Robert Armstrong, I hear you, bro. And that's your opinion, and you are entitled to your opinion. I can't, I'm not going to be able to change your opinion. I'm not here to change your opinion. But in a grand scheme of things, when you think like that and you start sectioning off our people, it's counterproductive. The so-called Jews here in America that received reparations, they didn't cut off their brothers or separate other people that were so-called Jews. They stick together and they help each other. We all know that. We all know that. They stick together and help each other. And the ones of them that were not descendants of people that were You know, that got Holocaust reparations. They make sure Israel gets a certain billions of dollars every year from this country. They take care of their own wherever they are. It just seems as though when it comes to us, man, we always want to sexualize and marginalize ourselves. There's no strength in that. There's no strength in that whatsoever. First of all, the Most High is our strength. That's number one. But even if you're not a Bible believer, just on a common sense level, there's no strength in dividing up our people for money. For money. There's no strength in that, you know? Anyway, I'm going to give it another 5 minutes and I'm going to be out of here, family. We're going to go back to the ADOS website. We're probably going to read one more bullet point. I'll probably read one more. You guys can come to the website. Y'all see it right here, ADOS 101. Well, you don't see it because I ain't sharing my screen. Duh. Oh, yeah, you do. I'm sharing my screen. I thought I wasn't. Yeah, this is the website, ADOS101.com. Let's see, where were we? Okay, so the next two bullet points here. Audit. It says here, audit the banks to see if there are patterns of racial discrimination in lending and require these banks to extend loans to ADOS businesses. These banks receive bailout from taxpayers and owe a debt to all taxpayers regardless of race. In addition, banks such as Wells Fargo use predatory schemes historically, not just during the Great Recession, to eviscerate Black wealth. Lending to Black businesses and institutions will be a beginning for banks to redress the harm they've caused to the ADOS community. All right. There are a whole bunch of other bullet points here. Once again, this is the website, ADOS, American Descendants of Slaves.com, ADOS101.com. You brothers and sisters, y'all could come here, y'all could read, educate yourself about this topic. Watch a lot of the videos that are out there. There's plenty of them. And this is a very, very touchy subject, man. It's a very touchy subject. Yeah, Black Light Yagami, that's what I was saying earlier. That's a good comment, right? That's a good comment. This is what I was saying earlier about people that have been here their whole life. Their whole life. To the point where if they don't tell you they're from somewhere else, you wouldn't even know. And so they're discriminated against the same because they as far as everyone is concerned, they're Black American. They're Black American. So why shouldn't they benefit somewhat if they're discriminated against, if the police beat them upside the head? Remember, it's not just ADOS that gets shot down and accosted by police, right? Remember Abner Louima, that dude was Haitian. They didn't know that he was Haitian or not Haitian. They saw a Black man and they rammed that plunger up his rear end. That's what they did. That's what they did because of the color of his skin before the fact that, oh, they didn't say, oh, you know what, he's not ADOS, he's not bad. That didn't happen. You think they don't think like that. You know who thinks like that? We think like that. When they see you, you don't open your mouth. They see you. They see Abner Louima. They see me. We're standing in a line. They see all three of us as the same. If they knock you upside your head, they're going to knock him upside his head, and they're going to knock me upside mine. Period. Period. Shout out my brother Didi, the blue collar scholar. Yeah, the ADOS thing has been around for a while. Absolutely, King. And you know what the thing is, though, and I definitely want you to be on the panel discussion. I want to set up a panel discussion about this. I want to have brothers actually come on and talk about it with me. I don't want to be the only one. I definitely want you to be on that panel discussion. I'll let you know more about it once I set it up, once I find some people that are interested. And yeah, it's been around for a while, but as I'm sure you can see, it's picking up a lot of steam now, and there's a lot of arguing and infighting and really just nasty disrespect that's going on the comment boards on a lot of these videos. I see Black folks saying stuff to other Black people. If there was a white dude with a damn robe on and a hood burning a cross in front of you, you wouldn't say the things to him that you are saying to other Black people just because you don't want them to be, or you don't think that they qualify as ADOS. You are saying some real disgusting things on these comment boards to people that look just like you and that are being oppressed just like you, that you wouldn't say to that white boy that burned a cross in your backyard. You wouldn't say that to him. You wouldn't say that to him. You see what I'm saying? You wouldn't say that. So I know that that Willie Lynch thing is real. He may not have been a real person, but that thing is real. That Willie Lynch syndrome is real. And it's sad. It's sad. Just what, 2 weeks ago, black folks was divided over Gucci. Over Gucci. Something simple like that. For the most part, black folks are like, yo, we're not messing with Gucci. Then you have Floyd Mayweather, okay? And that other dude, I'm gonna call him that other dude because he's just about as sensitive as he could be. That other guy who also supported him that's supposed to be conscious. And they're divided the black community now over damn Gucci. You see what I'm saying? We always allow people to divide us. We always divided about every damn thing. And this is just another divisive topic. That's all it is. And it's sad. And they know that. And if you really listen, family, really, really read, go to that ADOS website and really read that Black agenda. Don't read it in terms of the financials. Read it in terms of what do the people behind the movement, what are they trying to get you to do? It is a political thing when you really look at it. Look at the wording. Look at how all the Republicans are being spoken about highly and all the Democrats are being spoken about in a condescending way. Y'all don't think that there's something behind that? You don't think the fact that you have Republicans that support this thing, y'all don't see something shady about that? All you can see is the money. That's it? Come on, man. Come on. These dudes is talking about Donald Trump, George Bush. Now, granted, the numbers don't lie. They don't lie. But there's obviously an agenda going on here, family. That's all I'm saying. Corey, one of a kind, probably. That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. Follow the money, family. Once we found out the money that was behind the Black Lives Matter movement, once we knew who the founders of the Black Lives movement was, then we started to see it for what it really was. The same thing's going to happen with this ADOS thing. We're going to find out who's financing what, who's supporting what. We're going to look at the background of some of the leaders that have set this thing up, which we've already done. I'm just not going to say it right here. Marcus Gracie, this was never a debate. I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe you're not talking to me, but this was never a debate. This is simply a video where I'm just asking some questions. I'm going to have a panel on the show, and it's not going to be just people that are anti-ADOS. I'm going to have people that's for it too. That's what a panel discussion is. I plan on having that. So there's no debate going on right now. I'm going to have that. I'm going to advertise it so that brothers and sisters know what's going on. And you'll be able to come in and express your thoughts as well. I'm going to have people from both sides, but it's going to be a respectful dialogue and conversation. All right? All right. Anyway, family, Andrew Harris, just stay tuned to Maccabeestv. I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to attempt. Don't hold me to it. I'm going to attempt to, well, Didi, the blue collar scholar, you said it, not me. I'm going to attempt to come back to you, brothers and sisters, next Sunday with a panel. So how's that? Mark your calendars. Don't hold me to it 100% in case something comes up and I can't. But I'm going to try to have a panel discussion on this next week. Next Sunday, I'll invite some people on with different views on the ADOS movement. Somebody asked, will it be all Israelites? It doesn't have to be. But if you are not an Israelite and I allow you to come on the platform, you have to respect the fact that this is an Israelite-centered platform. And you have to respect the fact that we follow the scriptures, the Torah and the Bible, the New Testament, etc. We follow the scriptures. So we have to consider the scriptures when we start talking about handouts and reparations and excluding certain people that are our people and start separating our people. We have to consider the scriptures. So there will be some scripture talk. I won't say that everybody on the panel has to be an Israelite, but there will definitely be some scripture talk. And if you're not an Israelite and you come on the platform, you will respect the scriptures, or else we will kindly ask you to leave. And it's just that simple. right? Yah's general said it best. The word has the last word. All praise to the Most High with that. All praises to the Most High with that. All right. With that being said, family, I'm glad I was able to come to you, brothers and sisters, with something a little bit different today outside of what we've been talking about all week, which y'all know we've been talking about Sister Joy all week. I want to say something as I go out the door, right? For those of you that watched my videos, my 2 videos that I did on Sister Joy, I misspoke in the video out of honest ignorance, right? That's why I'm so glad in the video I was very clear that I did not have the facts concerning the case, and I really didn't speak about her as much as I spoke about her family and about us as Israelites examining ourselves. That was the purpose of my video. But I did misspeak in my video because I said that her body had been found, which it had not. And I've been speaking to people since then. So I just want brothers and sisters to understand that I'm not too big to come back and say that I misspoke in that case. As far as her body being found, her body has still not been recovered. I got some of y'all commenting on the video. I've already been speaking to people about that. So I already know what it is. All right. So we're clear on that. The reason why I haven't come back and done another video at this point, as far as I am concerned, I want the facts to play out. I don't really want to comment too much about it because there's too much disinformation out here. Okay. I had almost 2.5-hour conversation with one of the top brothers in IUIC, which is Deacon Asaph. We were on the phone Thursday for at least 2 hours, maybe a little bit more than that, maybe even 2.5. I also been speaking to the brother Mathathiwa from the House of David. That's been very pivotal in this thing. And I told them both that I'm just going to wait for the facts to play out at this point. It doesn't make any sense because I'm not in contact with anybody concerning that case. So anything that I come to you, brothers and sisters, with will be second and third hand information, which is what we don't want to do. We don't want to have third party information and disinformation out here. So I just want to let you brothers and sisters know that. All right. So that's pretty much it. Dewana, thank you to brothers and sisters for coming on the platform. I appreciate it. Most High will come back next week with a panel discussion if possible. And so spread the word. What I'll probably do is that once I get my panel together, I will probably set the video up, the live stream, which means you brothers and sisters are going to get a notification that I'm going to be going live next Sunday. You're going to get it very early in the week. And YouTube will keep reminding you that we're going to be going live sometime on Sunday once I set the panel up later on in the week. So look out for that. All right. And also, I do have a 800 number, so I'll probably be taking phone calls as well. Don't make me regret it. All right. With that, I say peace and safety to the nation of Israel. I love y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, on the way out the door, if you haven't already, we had a lot of people in the house. Just do your brother a favor and hit the like button on the way out the door. And if you're not subscribed to Maccabees TV, make sure you subscribe to the whole family. Maccabees TV, Maccabees TV 2, Sisters of the Maccabees, etc. Show support, show love. We show love and support to y'all as well. This is your brother, Priest Danyaahla, signing off. Passover 2019, destination Cleveland, Ohio, Saturday the 20th. The Truth Explosion, starring Brandon T. Jackson, the brother that's a comedian, very well known. Brandon T. Jackson, the comedian, is hosting that. It's going to be lit. Destination Cleveland. If you need more information, shout me out, MaccabeesTV@gmail.com. Maccabees TV, like the channel. MaccabeesTV@gmail.com. Shalom.